The Great Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with laughter. Hundreds of alien representatives from across the galaxy couldn't contain their amusement. Some rolled their eye stalks, while others flashed their scales in what their species considered hilarious entertainment. The cause of their delight: a simple announcement from Earth, the youngest member of the galactic community. Commander Jack Stone stood at the speaker's podium, his weathered face showing no reaction to the mockery around him. His gray uniform, decorated with the Earth Defense Force insignia, remained crisp and proper despite the 6-hour wait they had forced upon him. The Council had made him wait on purpose, a small way to show humans their place in the galactic order. The Earth Defense Force announces the completion of humanity's first seventh-dimensional vessel, he repeated, his voice steady and clear. This only brought another wave of laughter, louder than before. High Counselor Bright, a being made of pure light and ancient wisdom, dimmed his glow to what his people considered a condescending level. Commander Stone, his voice rang through the hall, your species has barely mastered fourth-dimensional travel. Are we to believe that in mere decades, you've surpassed races that have studied dimensional physics for millennia? Stone's blue eyes met the Bright One's glow without flinching. Believe what you wish, High Counselor. We're simply making our achievement known, as required by Council law. From the upper rings, a reptilian delegate hissed in amusement. Perhaps they found a way to count to 7 and got confused. This brought roaring laughter from the gathering, making the chamber's crystal walls vibrate. Stone remained still, his hands clasped behind his back. He thought of the Horizon Breaker asterisk, safely hidden in the massive underground facilities beneath Earth's Antarctic ice. He thought of the test flights, of the impossible things they'd seen, of the discoveries that had changed everything they knew about space and time. But most importantly, he thought of Dr. Wilson's words, let them laugh. Laughter comes from not understanding, and not understanding comes from fear of the unknown. The High Counselor's glow brightened again, a sign he was about to make what his people considered a devastating point. Commander, even our youngest spacefaring races know that seventh-dimensional travel requires energy levels that would tear your primitive ships apart. Your hull materials can't possibly contain such forces. Stone allowed himself a small smile. You're absolutely right, High Counselor. Traditional hull materials would indeed fail under such stress. Then you admit this is a foolish claim? Another delegate called out. No, Stone replied calmly. I'm simply agreeing that traditional methods don't work. We never said we used traditional methods. This caused a stir in the chamber. The Bright Ones, in particular, seemed to pulse with irritation. Their race had dominated dimensional travel technology for so long that any challenge to their understanding was seen as a personal insult. Enough of this nonsense, High Counselor Bright declared. Either prove your claims or withdraw them. The Council will not be made a fool of by primitives who barely understand quantum mechanics. Stone reached into his pocket and pulled out a small data crystal. Our test flight data is here, verified by independent observers from the Rigel Science Academy. He placed it on the podium, where it was quickly snatched up by a Council drone. The hall grew quieter as the data appeared on the massive screens around the chamber. Numbers, equations, and test results scrolled past. Stone watched as confusion replaced amusement on many faces. The Bright Ones, in particular, began to pulse rapidly, a sign of agitation. These readings, one of the science delegates muttered. They can't be right. I assure you they are, Stone replied. The Horizon Breaker asterisk has completed over 50 test flights, all documented and verified. High Counselor Bright's glow had dimmed to almost nothing, a sign of deep thought among his people. When he spoke again, his voice carried a note of uncertainty that had never been heard before in the Council chamber. We will need to verify these claims personally, he announced. The Council demands a demonstration. Stone had been waiting for this moment. We would be happy to demonstrate the Horizon Breaker's capabilities. Name the time and place. As he left the podium, the Great Hall remained unusually quiet, The laughter had stopped, replaced by uncertain whispers and concerned murmurs. Stone allowed himself another small smile as he walked out. They didn't know it yet, but everything was about to change. 3 miles beneath the Antarctic ice, Dr. Emma Wilson walked through the massive underground facility that had been her home for the past 15 years. Her footsteps echoed off the steel walls as she made her way to the main testing chamber. The air was warm despite being surrounded by ice, heated by the countless machines and computers that filled the complex. The door to the chamber slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, the Horizon Breaker waited in all its strange beauty. Unlike the bulky ships of other species, it looked almost alive. Its silver-white surface seemed to flow like liquid metal, and subtle patterns moved across its hull like ripples on water. Dr. Wilson still remembered the day she first understood why their ship had to look this way. Running final checks on the quantum core, Tom Reed called from his position near the ship. He was their best test pilot, a man who could feel dimensional shifts the way most people felt changes in the weather. His dark hair had gone gray at the temples over the years of testing, but his hands remained steady as he worked. "How's she feeling today?" Emma asked, walking up to the ship's side. She placed her hand on the hull, feeling the slight warmth that meant the ship was awake. Tom smiled, like she's ready to dance. "The new adjustments you made to the dimensional resonance field are working perfectly. She's not fighting the dimensional barriers anymore. She's flowing through them." That was the key difference between their approach and everyone else's. The aliens tried to force their way through dimensions, using massive amounts of energy to tear holes in reality. The Horizon Breaker did something entirely different. It matched its quantum frequency to the natural resonance of space-time itself, allowing it to slip between dimensions like a fish through water. Dr. Wilson, a young engineer named Mike, ran into the chamber, tablet in hand. "The council meeting. You need to see this." They gathered around the screen, watching as Commander Stone faced the mockery of the alien races. Emma felt a surge of pride when she saw him standing there, calm and confident. He knew what they had achieved here. "They still think we're using brute force," Tom said, shaking his head. "They can't imagine any other way." Emma turned back to the ship. "That's because they never questioned their basic assumptions. They saw dimensional travel as a problem of power, how much energy it takes to break through. We saw it as a problem of harmony." The chamber's main screen lit up with incoming data from their sensors across the solar system. The alien ships were moving, probably coming to demand their demonstration. Emma wasn't worried. They had done over 50 test flights, each one more successful than the last. "Remember the first test?" Tom asked, following her gaze to the ship. "When we realized we couldn't even detect the ship with normal sensors because it was partially existing in all dimensions at once." Emma nodded. That had been the moment she knew they had done something revolutionary. Their ship didn't just travel through dimensions. It existed in all of them simultaneously. The alien sensors would never work properly because they were only designed to detect things in one dimension at a time. "Mike, start the pre-flight sequence," she ordered. "I want the ship ready when they come for their demonstration." Tom, gather the test flight crew. We should run through the safety protocols again. As the chamber came alive with activity, Emma opened her personal computer and began reviewing their flight data. Each test had taught them something new about the nature of reality itself. The aliens thought dimensions were separate layers to be broken through. Humanity had discovered they were more like notes in a song, each one flowing into the next. The computer showed an incoming message from Commander Stone. "Council demands demonstration. Be ready in 48 hours." Emma sent back a simple reply. "We've been ready for years." She looked up at the Horizon Breaker, its surface shifting with patterns that mimicked the quantum fabric of space-time itself. Soon, the galaxy would understand what humanity had discovered. They hadn't built a better engine. They had found a better way to understand the universe itself. "Time to show them what harmony looks like," she whispered, and began the final preparations for the greatest revelation in galactic history. The council chamber looked very different 2 days later. Gone were the laughs and sneers. Instead, a tense silence filled the great hall as High Counselor Bright floated at the center of the speaking platform. His light pulsed with what his species considered righteous anger. "We have reviewed your data," the High Counselor announced, his voice echoing through the chamber. "While the numbers are interesting, they prove nothing. Anyone can create false readings." Commander Stone stood calmly at his assigned spot, hands clasped behind his back. The past 2 days had been filled with demands for inspections, data, and explanations. The aliens had tried everything to prove humanity was lying. Their failure to do so had only made them more suspicious. "Then what do you suggest, High Counselor?" Stone asked politely. The Bright One's glow intensified. "A challenge. A race, if you will. Through the Carina Nebula." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Carina Nebula was one of the most dangerous regions in known space, filled with newborn stars, radiation storms, and dimensional instabilities. It was considered a proving ground for ships and crews. "Interesting choice," Stone replied. "And the terms?" "Simple ones." The High Counselor's voice carried a note of satisfaction. "The race will require passages through multiple dimensional layers. If your ship truly masters 7th-dimensional travel, this should be easy." Stone nodded. "And what are the stakes?" "If you win, Earth gains a permanent seat on the High Council and full access to the Council's technology archives." The High Counselor paused for effect. "But when you lose, Earth surrenders all research and development related to dimensional travel. Forever." The chamber erupted in excited whispers. A seat on the High Council was something most races waited thousands of years to achieve. The technology archives contained the accumulated knowledge of 100 spacefaring civilizations. No one had ever been offered both at once. Stone didn't hesitate. "We accept." The whispers turned to shocked gasps. Even the High Counselor's glow flickered in surprise. He had expected negotiations, demands for better terms, or a graceful withdrawal. The immediate acceptance threw him off balance. "You understand what you're risking," a reptilian counselor called out. "Everything your species has worked for." "We understand perfectly," Stone replied. His calm confidence made several delegates shift uncomfortably in their seats. "When does the race begin?" The High Counselor's glow steadied. "1 standard week. That should give enough time for other species to prepare their vessels. After all, we should make this interesting." Stone raised an eyebrow. "Other species?" "Of course. Did you think this would be a simple race between us?" "No, Commander. Every advanced spacefaring race with dimensional travel capability will be invited to participate. Let us see how your miracle ship performs against the best the galaxy has to offer." Stone allowed himself a small smile. "The more the merrier, High Counselor." As he turned to leave the chamber, a thought struck him. "One question, if I may." The High Counselor gestured permission. "What happens if we win?" The Bright One's glow pulsed with amusement. "Beyond the stated prizes, nothing. Though I suppose the galaxy would have to accept that humanity has achieved something remarkable." Stone nodded. "Thank you. That's all I needed to know." He walked out of the chamber, already sending a message to the Antarctic facility. "It's set. 1 week." They took the bait. The reply came quickly from Dr. Wilson. "Perfect. They still think it's about the technology. They have no idea what they're about to witness." Stone smiled as he headed for his ship. In 1 week, the galaxy would learn that humanity hadn't just built a better ship. They had discovered a fundamental truth about reality itself. The race wouldn't just change the political landscape of the galaxy. It would change everything everyone thought they knew about the universe. The laughter had stopped for now. In 7 days, it would never return. The space around Jupiter's orbit had never been so crowded. 12 massive ships from the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy hung in the void, their hulls gleaming under the distant sunlight. Each vessel was a testament to its creator's power. Huge engines designed to tear through the fabric of space-time, armor that could withstand the forces of dimensional travel, and crews numbering in the hundreds. Lead engineer Mark Thompson stood at the Horizon Breaker's main viewport, watching as another alien ship arrived in a flash of distorted space. Unlike the others, the human ship looked almost delicate. Its flowing silver-white surface reflected the stars like a mirror, and its organic curves made it look more like a living creature than a machine. "They're still trying to scan us," Tom Reed said from his pilot's chair. "Their sensors can't make sense of what they're seeing." Mark nodded, checking the readings on his tablet. "That's because they're looking for what they expect to see. Massive power sources, dimensional drive units, reinforced hull plating. We don't have any of that." The ship's interior was just as different from alien vessels. Instead of rows of control stations and massive crew quarters, the Horizon Breaker had only 4 crew positions. Each station was connected directly to the ship's quantum consciousness through neural interfaces that Dr. Wilson had designed. Main broadcast from the Council ships, Lisa Green announced from her communication station. The young pilot had been chosen for her unusually strong ability to sense dimensional shifts. They want all ships to do a systems check before the race briefing. Mark smiled as he ran through their checklist. Power systems. The ship barely used any power compared to the others. Hull integrity. The hull wasn't fighting against dimensional forces, so it didn't need the usual reinforcement. Crew readiness. 4 humans instead of the hundreds of aliens on other ships. All systems harmonizing perfectly, he reported. "We're ready." A flash of light announced the arrival of the High Council's observation vessel. It was enormous, easily 4 times the size of any race's ship. Its surface glowed with the same light as the bright ones who had built it. "All vessels, prepare for inspection," a voice announced over the common frequency. "Council representatives will verify race readiness." Mark watched as small shuttles departed from the Council ship, heading to each competitor's vessel. When one approached the Horizon Breaker he could sense the confusion of its occupants. "Where is your docking bay?" the alien inspector asked over the comm. "We don't have one," Mark replied. "We don't need it." There was a pause. "Then how do we inspect your vessel?" "The same way our crew enters, through dimensional harmony." Before the aliens could respond, the Horizon Breaker's surface rippled. A section of the hull simply opened, not like a door, but like reality itself had decided to create a passage. The inspector's shuttle hung motionless for several moments. "This is irregular," one inspector said as they finally entered. Mark met them in what they called the Harmony Chamber, a room that served as both entrance and control center. The aliens, 3 bright ones, and a reptilian tech expert, looked around in obvious confusion. "Where are your dimensional drives?" the tech expert demanded. "Where are your power cores?" "We don't have those," Mark explained. "We don't need them." "Impossible," one of the bright ones stated. "All dimensional travel requires massive energy expenditure." Mark shook his head. "Only if you're fighting against reality. We found a different way." The inspectors spent 2 hours searching the ship, growing more frustrated by the minute. They couldn't understand what they were seeing because it didn't match anything they knew about dimensional travel. Finally, they left clearly unsettled. "They're going to try to disqualify us," Lisa said as they watched the shuttle leave. "They can't," Tom replied from his station. "The race rules only specify that ships must be capable of dimensional travel. They don't say anything about how that travel has to be achieved." Mark turned back to his engineering station, running final checks on the ship's quantum harmonics. In less than an hour, the race would begin. The aliens would finally see what humanity had discovered, that the universe wasn't something to be conquered, but something to be understood. "All ships, prepare for race briefing," the Council vessel announced. The gathering storm was about to break. "Race start in 3 minutes," the Council ship announced across all channels. In the Horizon Breaker's Harmony Chamber, Lisa Green settled into her pilot station, feeling the neural interface connect with her mind. The ship's consciousness touched her thoughts like a gentle wave, showing her all 11 dimensions at once. All systems in harmony, Mark reported from engineering. His hands moved across his controls, not so much adjusting the ship as suggesting changes to its quantum state. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Through the viewport, they could see the other ships powering up their dimensional drives. Massive energy readings pulsed from each vessel as they prepared to tear their way through spacetime. Next to these giants, the Horizon Breaker looked like a tiny silver fish among whales. 1 minute to race start, Tom Reed announced from his co-pilot station. First phase is standard 3D space to the edge of the nebula. Then we hit the dimensional barriers. Lisa nodded, feeling the ship's excitement match her own. That was something they'd never told the aliens. The Horizon Breaker wasn't just conscious, it was eager. It didn't fight against reality. It danced with it. 30 seconds. The first checkpoint was visible ahead, a series of buoys marking the edge of the Carina Nebula. Beyond that, reality itself began to split into higher dimensions, creating natural pathways between layers of spacetime. 10 seconds. The alien ship's engines glowed brighter, preparing to unleash enormous power. Race start. The void erupted with energy as 12 massive ships launched forward, their dimensional drives already beginning to tear holes in reality. The Horizon Breaker moved too, but differently. Instead of forcing its way through space, it seemed to flow, like water finding its natural path. First dimensional barrier approaching, Mark called out. Everyone ready. Lisa felt it coming, the place where three-dimensional space began to overlap with the fourth dimension. The alien ships ahead were already powering up their drives, preparing to force their way through. Now, she whispered, and the Horizon Breaker changed. Its silver surface rippled as the ship adjusted its quantum frequency to match the natural resonance of the fourth dimension. While other ships crashed through the dimensional barrier like battering rams, the Horizon Breaker simply slipped through, as if the barrier had never existed. 3 ships already dropped out, Tom reported, monitoring the race feed. Their dimensional drives couldn't handle the strain. The 5th dimension approached, and Lisa felt the ship sing with anticipation. This was where even the mighty Bright Ones began to struggle. Their vessels, built to dominate spacetime, required enormous energy to pierce the increasingly resistant dimensional barriers. The Horizon Breaker moved differently. As Lisa guided it forward, the ship didn't stay in any one dimension. Instead, it existed in all of them at once, choosing the paths of least resistance between layers of reality. Where others saw walls to break through, they saw doorways to step through. Look at their faces, Mark said, pulling up an image from the race broadcast. The alien observers watched in confusion as their sensors failed to track the human ship properly. The Horizon Breaker seemed to flicker in and out of existence, taking impossible paths through spacetime. They still don't understand, Tom said, smiling. They think we found a way to break through dimensions faster than they can. They don't realize we're not breaking through anything. Lisa felt the ship's agreement in her mind as they approached the 6th dimension. Ahead, the massive alien vessels fought against reality itself, their engines straining to overcome the natural order of spacetime. The Horizon Breaker simply flowed around these distortions, finding the places where dimensions naturally overlapped. We're about to pass the Bright One's flagship, she announced, feeling the ship's excitement peak. Ready for the real demonstration. Mark checked his readings one last time. All harmonics perfect. Show them what we can really do. Lisa smiled and opened her mind fully to the ship's consciousness. Together, they prepared to show the galaxy what dimensional travel really meant. Not a war against reality, but a dance with it. The true race was about to begin. The Carina Nebula blazed around them in all its dimensional glory. Here, at the heart of the racecourse, Reality itself bent and twisted in ways that even the most advanced aliens struggled to understand. Massive storms of energy swept across multiple dimensions, creating barriers that no amount of brute force could overcome. Inside the Horizon Breaker asterisk, Lisa Green felt something changing. The ship's quantum consciousness touched her mind with new intensity, showing her something they had kept hidden until now. She saw dimensional paths that no other race had ever imagined, flows of space-time that existed between the known dimensions. "It's time," she said softly. "The ship wants to show them." Mark looked up from his engineering station, his eyes wide with understanding. "All quantum harmonics are perfect. We're ready when you are." The remaining alien ships struggled ahead of them, their massive engines tearing holes in reality itself. Energy readings from their drives had reached dangerous levels as they fought against the nebulous dimensional storms. 3 more ships had already dropped out of the race, their crews unable to handle the strain. "Broadcasting on all frequencies," Tom announced. "Everyone will see this." Lisa took a deep breath and opened her mind fully to the ship. The neural interface hummed as ship and pilot became one consciousness, seeing reality in its true form. The Horizon Breaker's surface began to shift, its silver-white hull becoming almost transparent as it aligned with multiple dimensions simultaneously. "What are they doing?" The confused voice of a Bright One controller crackled over the comm. "Our sensors can't." The words cut off as the Horizon Breaker made its move. Instead of pushing through dimensions like the alien ships, it simply stepped sideways. The ship existed in all 11 known dimensions at once, using their natural overlaps as pathways. Where others saw barriers, they saw doorways. Where others fought against reality, they became part of it. "Impossible," someone shouted over the common channel. "They're moving through dimensional spaces that don't exist." But they did exist. Dr. Wilson had discovered them years ago. The spaces between spaces, the quantum paths that connected all dimensions. The Horizon Breaker didn't need massive engines or reinforced hulls because it never fought against the universe. It worked with it, becoming part of the cosmic dance that the aliens had never noticed. "Showing them everything now," Lisa announced, her voice calm despite the incredible energies flowing around them. The ship's consciousness guided her through dimensional paths that no other race had ever seen. They passed through the heart of a dimensional storm as if it wasn't there, slipping between the layers of reality like light through crystal. On the screens, they could see the alien observers' reactions. The Bright One's glow had dimmed to almost nothing, a sign of complete shock in their species. The reptilian technicians were frantically checking their instruments, trying to understand how a ship could move without fighting against space-time. "They're starting to understand," Mark said, watching the data feeds. "Look at their energy readings. Some of them are actually powering down their dimensional drives." The Horizon Breaker danced through the nebula's heart, showing paths that had always existed but had never been seen. Its quantum consciousness, shared through Lisa's neural link, sang with the joy of finally revealing its true nature. This wasn't just a new way to travel. It was a new way to understand reality itself. "Final checkpoint ahead," Tom called out. "Most of the other ships haven't even reached the halfway point." Lisa felt the ship's satisfaction as they approached the finish line. They had shown the galaxy something that would change everything. Not just about travel, but about how species understood the universe itself. The Horizon Breaker wasn't a testament to humanity's power. It was proof of their wisdom. "Taking us home," she said softly. The ship moved through one final dimensional dance, its hull shimmering with patterns that matched the quantum fabric of space-time itself. They crossed the finish line not with a flash of power or a tear in reality, but with a graceful step through dimensions that flowed together like notes in an eternal song. The race was over. The revelation had begun. The great hall of the Galactic Council had never been so quiet. Not a single laugh, not a whisper, not even the usual rustling of movement disturbed the silence. Every eye, sensor, and consciousness was fixed on the central platform, where Commander Jack Stone stood next to Dr. Emma Wilson. Above them, massive screens showed the race data in all its impossible glory. The Horizon Breaker's journey through the Carina Nebula had been recorded from every angle, studied by the finest minds in the galaxy, and still, no one could quite believe what they had seen. "You finished the race course in 1/8 of the expected time," High Counselor Bright said, his glow dimmed to an almost invisible flicker. "The second-place ship hasn't even reached the final checkpoint yet." "Yes," Stone replied simply. He stood in the same spot where, just days ago, the Council had laughed at humanity's claims. No one was laughing now. "How?" The question came from a reptilian scientist, his scales pale with shock. "Even if you had somehow mastered seventh-dimensional travel, the energy requirements alone should have." "That's the problem," Dr. Wilson interrupted gently. "You're still thinking about energy requirements, about forcing your way through dimensions. We never tried to do that." She stepped forward, her hands moving as she explained. "Look at your own data. Our ship never generated the energy spikes you associate with dimensional travel. It never broke through dimensional barriers. It never fought against the universe at all." The screen shifted, showing the Horizon Breaker's quantum harmonics patterns. "We discovered something you had all overlooked. Dimensions aren't separate layers to break through. They're all connected, all part of the same cosmic dance. We didn't build a more powerful ship. We built one that could join that dance." "Impossible," a Bright One scientist declared, but his glow flickered with uncertainty. "The mathematical models clearly show." "Your models show what you expected to see," Stone cut in. "You looked for ways to force reality to obey you. We looked for ways to understand reality itself." Dr. Wilson nodded to a technician, and new data appeared on the screens. "Your ships tear holes in spacetime, requiring massive energy and leaving dimensional scars that take years to heal. Our ship slides through the natural spaces between dimensions, leaving no trace at all." The council chamber erupted in discussion as the implications became clear. This wasn't just a better way to travel. It was a fundamental shift in how species could interact with reality itself. "The Council acknowledges humanity's victory," High Counselor Bright announced, his voice carrying over the chaos. "As agreed, Earth will be granted a permanent seat on the High Council and full access to the technology archives." Stone smiled slightly. "Thank you, High Counselor, but we'd like to offer something in return." A wave of surprise rippled through the chamber. They had already won everything. What more could they want to give? "We're willing to share our understanding of dimensional harmony," Dr. Wilson said. "Not just the technology, the fundamental principles behind it. The quantum consciousness that allows ships to perceive all dimensions. The neural interfaces that let crews guide rather than control." "Why?" The question came from multiple species at once. Stone's expression grew serious. "Because this isn't just about faster ships or easier travel. What we discovered changes everything we thought we knew about the universe. It shouldn't belong to just one species." Dr. Wilson stepped forward again. "We're not asking you to abandon your current technology. We're offering you a chance to see the universe as we've learned to see it, not as something to conquer, but as something to understand and work with." The chamber fell silent again, but this time it was different. The silence wasn't of shock or disbelief, but of dawning understanding. The quantum harmonics patterns still danced on the screens above, showing pathways between dimensions that had always existed, waiting to be discovered. "The Council accepts your offer," High Counselor Bright said finally, his glow strengthening with what might have been hope. Perhaps it is time for all of us to learn a new way of seeing." Stone and Wilson shared a smile. The laughter had stopped, replaced by something far more valuable: understanding. Humanity hadn't just won a race or a seat on the Council. They had opened the door to a new age of exploration and discovery. The universe, it seemed, had many more dances to teach them all.